podcast.
I was gonna say, welcome to the Friends of Disney podcast, where we don't talk about other things. We talk about all things Disney. 365. Wait, that's the wrong time.
Okay. Yeah, today's episode, we're gonna be talking about Zack and Cody, episode 5.
Yeah, I almost started binging this series.
Are you? That's so funny.
So,
That's so funny.
I don't think we need to give a synopsis this episode, just
We
because it's so brief.
Yeah. Honestly, I liked the episode though. It was cute.
Oh,
I thought
you
you loved it, and I was like, turn this thing off.
Megan hated this episode. So I love how this episode opened. Like, it opened, like, just so casual, got the jazz music going in the background, everyone's loving Carrie, the boys' mom, and everything. It's like, you perform so well. Like, it's so classy. And then Zack and Cody come.
With the and the vase that keeps getting mentioned. Yeah.
That vase that almost breaks like 3 or 4 times.
It's the opposite of what happens in Wizards of Waverly Place. It's the vase that never breaks.
Whereas in Wizard of Waverly Place, it's the lamp that always breaks.
If here I was thinking Oron High School Host Club, which is not Disney, but the face that brings that causes all of our struggles.
Oh, we had that vase yet. But no, like the episode opens, and everything is nice and classy. Everyone's loving Carrie. The boys come, and
A Fallout Boys.
what was it that
All
they
of
did?
the boys.
What was it that they did?
Great pup.
What was it that they did exactly?
They were on their roller skates.
playing
That's what it was. It was the rollers.
And then they like
Roller skates or skateboards?
no, there's
Skates.
roller skates. And then they tripped over several employees and guests, I believe. And
And
then
caused one to like
fall.
slam Mosby.
Yeah, and then you see the vase starts to fall, and then he's like, oh, and then he catches it, and then the mom's just like, boys, you're breaking Mr. Mosby.
I love Mr. Mosby's dedication because he goes, "Don't pay attention to me, pay attention to the guests."
He said simp, but like I said before the Tilton.
I seriously hope he gets compensated well.
I hope he gets paid very, very well.
Well, it's like we saw in the 4th episode, he has like Tipton like boxer briefs or whatever, and everything, and even in like one episode in season 3 of Sweet Life on Deck.
Spoilers!
This show's been out for so long, there's no spoilers anymore.
I haven't seen it.
He has in one episode there's a golden Tipton coffee mug. So like he loves the Tipton. He literally like that's his life. Like
Welcome to the Tilton, where everything is sweet.
I can't wait for when we get to that episode. But like I appreciate that he still like held that same like pay attention to the guests, not to me, even not being smushed by this much larger guy. Like
Yeah. And then forwarding from that, we then reach Carrie, right? It is Carrie?
Carrie, yeah.
Yeah. Carrie, who
I just think about
Grounds
she
the
carries
boys.
such.
Yes. The title of the episode is Grounded on the 23rd
third
floor.
floor.
And that's exactly where their apartment is. And Carrie grounds them in their apartment on the 23rd floor.
And the boys try and do anything but that.
Yes, but the next scene after the intro and everything,
Mosby goes to the hotel room, their hotel room suite, with a bill.
because Carrie's like agreement with the hotel and everything is like she performs there, and in return she gets room and board and everything, and apparently that's not completely free, and it's like only up to a certain allowance because Mosby comes in with this bill being like, you exceeded it, so now you got to pay it, and the mother's like freaked out because there's a lot of money. They don't earn that much single family income.
Single parent income?
You know what I mean?
You said single family income.
It is a single family. But like
Carrie's income.
Carrie's income, which is probably already a little bit diminished considering her contract includes room and board.
Yeah.
So we're paying
That has to be a specific tax write-off too. Sorry, the accountant in me is just like, well, you've had a similar position when you were an RA.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. So didn't that get deducted from your tuition though?
So when I was an RA at the college we were going to, technically I could 100% have room and board. Board being like my meal plan and stuff. But you had the option to do board, or you can just have room for free and then still get paid, but board would not be covered.
Mhm.
And so, some people that did opt to get room and board covered, and that meant they didn't get any pay from being an RA. Their pay went towards that, which makes sense. That's a big factor of people trying to become RAs. I didn't do that, mostly because when I did the math, it didn't equate right.
Mhm.
Like how expensive our meal plans were and what the pay was, it just didn't make sense.
What did you do then?
I it was lumped in with the rest of my paying off, first paying for schooling and everything like that.
Mm.
So I got paid like cause I only got paid like $275 paycheck.
Sucks.
So you're talking 500, little over $500 a month for a meal plan that's a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And it's like for each semester too, so you're talking $500 a month for 4 months. So like the math didn't fully equate right,
Yeah.
but
So Carrie realistically isn't getting that much.
no, and especially since obviously it's only a specific allowance of board
Mm-hmm.
as well. Like I'm surprised. No offense to her, like I'm surprised there's not more under lock and key about like what they're using the board for.
Yeah.
Like the boys are in school, so they have school. They all have their lunches for school, whatever that looks like, whether that's taking lunches or hot lunch, or and then your breakfast and dinner would be all that's left.
But then the boys go to the extreme of having their underwear.
Underwear dry cleaned. They order this "I'm sorry" buffet,
Yeah.
which does not help the cause.
No.
Do you have anything on, or like just talking back and forth?
Megan's a little out of it today, but that's okay. She's fully here.
Pregnancy brain.
Yeah.
Pregnancy brain is just like, sounds really good. A nap.
I was gonna say burritos.
Oh, burritos. I'm not gonna drool. I'm not gonna drool. I'm not gonna drool.
But then Mosby bringing this bill makes the mom super stressed about paying, and she ends up pushing that stress onto the boys as well.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, it's not that she really put the stress on the boys. It was more of like her speaking out of her stress and the boys understanding that concept.
Yeah, she was like, what? This is a lot of money. And they were just like, they overheard it. And there wasn't really anything coming in from communicated from Carrie to the boys, like, this is your fault or anything like that.
yeah, but the boys obviously felt guilty and everything, because in the next scene, you see them coming home from school, and Zach's like, "Ooh, I found a $5 bill in my pocket." And Cody's like, "That's my pocket." And this is them after trying to get him through a mob of paparazzi, where we find out that they go to the county counter to see Maddie, where Zach continues to hit on Maddie, of course.
The amount of times he hit on her.
In this episode alone.
I know. I was like, this episode was so many times. I felt so bad for Maddie.
Maddie's a saint.
I hate herself, but too much.
Yes.
But we end up learning that the reason that all these paparazzi are there is because there was this famous baseball player and this lingerie model that are
Getting married.
and they're all trying to get pictures. And apparently, there's this rumor that tabloids are paying out like $20,000 to whoever can get a picture of the first kiss. Which naturally Zach gets intrigued because he, as we've seen in the beauty pageant episode,
he likes the muns.
He does like the muns.
And he emphasizes that we can be rich, like him and his brother, not really helping out mom, and then
Cody's the one who advocates like we can help out mom and things like that.
I think it's really interesting considering the little bits I know about Sweet Life on Deck. Um, Cody's definitely a mama's boy.
Oh, hardcore.
And so like it's really interesting seeing like the seeds of that in episode 5, season 1. A Sweet Life and Zack and Cody.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, Sweet Life, because they live in a suite. I just got this.
that's the greatest thing ever. I was today's year old when I realized it was sweet.
I feel so stupid now.
Life of Zach.
Yes, if you didn't know, it's called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody because it's the sweet in the hotel.
Making me love you.
Thanks. Love y'all too.
But, so
Gosh, I can't believe I just figured.
back on track a little bit. Right before Carrie gets the bill from Mr. Bosby, she also talks about getting them a babysitter as well for Maddie. And the reason that's relevant is because through
It's a little man sitter. Get it right.
yes, the little man sitter while they're searching for armpit hair. I don't know about you guys. I don't know anyone that was ever searching for chest hair or armpit hair. I never did it. As far as I know, my brother never did it. I don't know any guy that actually searched for it unless it was facial hair.
You see, I'm not close enough to my brother to actually know. We're not that close.
Didn't know.
By the time he's talking about a childhood friend of mine. Yeah, he lived in Arkansas.
Middle school.
He moved away when he was in middle school.
Okay, yeah, by the time that you know him.
He was a baby. I only knew him up until the 6th grade.
That's enough for you to start chest hair, honey.
And no, he did not search for any trust hair. As far as I'm aware.
Did you know it? What are your thoughts on this? Because I think you guys try to, generally speaking, women try to avoid the hair in other areas. Guys like to take care.
I was gonna say, like, me growing up, like, for us girls, like, we were very concerned about it, like, in 4th grade, and start experimenting with shaving. But yeah,
The 4th grade. I wasn't allowed to shave my legs until I was in the 6th grade.
I think the first time I shaved my legs, yeah, was in 4th grade.
That's really interesting. My mom
Now I
thing about
too.
my mom had a thing about me and razors. She's like, "You're going to die." And I said, "No, Mom, I want to shave my legs because I want to feel them be silky smooth." And she said, "Not until you are a 6th grader."
Okay, fun fact. Nair is actually low-key great. It's the lotion that burns off your hair.
So what for facial hair?
Yeah. It's great. It, like, literally, I don't think you're supposed to use it's just what I do. But like you put the Nair on, and normally you're supposed to like wipe it off with a cloth. But there's also one you can have like in the shower, and then there's like a shower scrub that goes with it. So like you just put it on before the shower, you like wait like maybe 15 minutes while you're just hanging out, and you're like lotion all over my body. Great. Then you go in the shower and then you use the little scrub and then all your hair comes off.
That sounds like
It's very easy.
The reason I bring up facial hair is because I hate when facial hair starts to grow on my face. Like I'm edging having to shave again probably tomorrow. And also Megan hates it when I have facial hair.
It does like have a weird like Nair has a weird smell on it, but that's just because of the chemicals. But yeah, you can't use it. Anyways, fun fact for y'all: is if you don't want to shave, use Nair. There's other options too, like waxing, laser hair removal. I've also seen like freezing.
I haven't heard that. Anyways, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the boys. So
Oh, that was so gross. I am so sorry.
the boys are like looking for armpit hair or whatever. So their mom's like, "Oh, you're calling them, doing them a little man looking for armpit hair." Jokes about getting them a little man sitter, also known as Maddie, because Maddie needs the money.
I will say, growing up in the res, I don't think anyone cared about. Like, if anything, they cared about their muscles they may
Yeah.
or may not have had.
You see,
No.
yeah, no. Growing up, it was more about boob size.
Boot size or boob? Oh, I was like, did
The
you say?
breast,
I was like, did you say boot or boob?
the boob, the breastable size. Mostly because it sounds really bad until you're like, oh, well, I can't fade to my top anymore because I have to like constantly change like whether I go from the kids department to the adult department.
See, I don't know why the girls at my school were so worried about when they hit puberty.
I remember when I was in elementary school.
Okay, free. Sorry, you have this hair that's been bothering me all episode. Okay, yeah.
I remember this. I remember when I was in elementary school and they were like, they had split all boys and girls up into fifth grade and sent a T-shirt about puberty or whatever. And guys got done earlier, of course. Sorry, I'm just making a joke that like girls take forever to be ready.
I mean, they finish early in other places too.
Just saying that girls take longer to get ready.
Mhm.
Gosh. But anyways,
And guys finish early.
I know what you're trying to do, but we're not that kind of podcast.
We are now.
No,
No, we're not.
I have yet to have to put an explicit rating in our episodes, and I'm not gonna start.
I just wanted to say though that like this is like the most stupidest thing I think for girls to worry about. But like when we had those talks, the girls were like, I'm gonna get kicked off the team because I have to bring pads. And
See, all I remember, because I don't, obviously I wasn't in the girls' conversation, but when I went back to my classroom, because my teacher was the one that took the girls, um, we were waiting, and then like some of the girls like burst out, were running. They're like, freaking out. And we're like, what the
the girls in my grade, like a lot of us played sports, and they're just like, my coach is gonna kick me off the team if I bring a pad to practice. I'm not allowed to bring pads and tampons to practice. And I'm just like, when I look back at that now, I'm just like, your coach isn't gonna do that. Like,
how are they gonna know?
yeah. Like,
They're not gonna go checking up your hoo-ha.
yeah, and they're like, I
They
can't.
shouldn't be.
They're just like, I can't start that type of production yet because I'll be kicked off the team. And I'm like, for something that's gonna happen between possibly the ages 8 to 18, and you don't know when it occurred. Like when I first went into this, it made no sense. I was like, why are you freaking out? Like this logically makes no sense.
They also make it sound like it's the most horrifying thing that you've ever
Yeah.
experienced ever.
Yeah.
The way it's approached can be really scary because
I would say the one in high school, they make it more terrifying because that's when they show.
The birth video.
Oh, no, that was actually not as horrifying as the explicit photos of diseases.
Oh,
oh, I didn't have that. I did not have that.
Yeah, I got that. And they're like, this is what normal and this is what a disease looks like. Anyways, very off
Oh,
topic.
yeah, we never did it again. But anyways, so when they're with May and they're like, yeah, let's get this money, let's do it, we can do this.
because
And they cut and we end up cutting to Mosby giving the couple a tour, and Zach is really creepy and stuff. He's hitting on Maddie. He like makes a comment about the lingerie model.
Well, let's go back to them first buying candy because they hear about this $1 million photo and then
That's
they
why-
exchange their candy for the camera.
What's relevant about that?
so they can take the photo.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they go to buy candy. They end up learning about the $20,000 picture, so they trade the candy for the camera. And so convinces Cody to get along with it, and we end up. And now they're trying to figure out a way to get into the wedding because only people with a printed invitation can get in. They find out London's able to get in because she goes. Well, it says she's able to get in because she owns a hotel. Blah blah blah. Trying to think of her heiress privilege. and stuff, and says that she will not get them into the hotel or into
the wedding.
the wedding at all. So
That would be really awkward if they can't get to that.
they end up bombarding Mosby while the baseball couple is like touring the ballroom and stuff to see like how stuff is going for the wedding prep.
And then one of the famous singers, was it?
Beyonce.
They were wanting to get Beyonce.
Yeah.
But her tour got extended. The baseball player was like done with it. He's like, can we just get like a local nobody? Do we have to have all these freaking famous people? And the boys pop up.
So.
And
Money.
and they're like, oh yeah, our mom sings here. So she's the resident entertainer and stuff like that. And so they
Let's
end
go
up
see her practice.
so they end up taking the couple over to see the mom rehearsing everything. And they love her and hire her and stuff. And they end up calling Zack and Cody her agents. Which is nice foreshadowing for a future episode. It does occur. And so
I have not watched it. I do not know it exists.
And so the mom was like, thank you so much for getting me this gig, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, sweet, can you get us into the wedding? She goes, ha, 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 no. You're grounded on the 23rd floor. And we end up cutting to them being grounded. Maggie's watching them as their little man sitter. And the mom is going to go to the wedding and perform and everything. And they're in the bathroom, and Zack changes into a tux.
I have a question.
Yeah.
At this moment. It's a really nice tux. Carey, as we established, doesn't make a lot of money. Where the F did he get this tux? And tearaway clothes. That perfectly hot tux.
I don't think that this is like on being tearaway close so much as that he is supposed to be Hubert close to reveal the text.
Still.
But also, yes. I mean, I anticipate that like
Probably on that large bill that Carey got.
Probably.
I'm assuming that, like, well, because if you go in hotels, like, especially, you know, over in Idaho, like at the resort, they normally have shops. So I'm assuming there may have been, like, shops of Tipton that we just don't see.
Probably. There's a
Shops
lot
at the Tipton where everything is sweet.
Yeah, I can't wait for that episode. But there's a lot of the Tipton that we don't get to see. But we see that Zach's basically telling Cody, oh yeah, I need you to cover for me. I'm going to sneak through the air vents into the wedding, grab a picture. And so Zach escapes into the air vent. Cody's trying to do what always fails for every twin when one tries to cover the other and play both parts, only to be like shot down when he puts his hoodie on backwards, between going back and forth between dressed and undressed.
Well, it first started with he was looking at the window and he's like, oh, look at the limo, you know, type of thing.
Oh yeah, look at all the celery trying to distract Maddie so
Yeah.
Zach can leave.
And then Maddie starts like looking at who's also coming to the wedding, and then that's when he sees like hearing water overflowing, and that's when this whole charade
started because he's like, oh yeah, Zach's taking a bath. And he goes, okay. And so Cody goes, I want to talk to Zach. Goes in, takes his shirt off and everything, pokes his head out. Yes. I want to talk to Cody. Puts his thing on, puts his clothes back on, but his sweatshirt's on backwards. Rookie mistake.
And Maddie's just like, she then figured out like both the boys ain't here.
Yeah. And so.
Oh, and then let's go to the part where Zach.
So Zach is on his way to the wedding and through the air vent where he runs into London.
Who's also trying to get to the wedding.
Yes, because she wasn't able to get an original. And so.
And her friend got one.
Yeah.
And she has to fill in.
Yeah, because status.
And follow.
So they're crawling through the vent. There's just passive joke made about how it stinks, and Zach says sorry.
Yeah, I find that so funny. I'm surprised the boys didn't do it together, you know, when
They both did it.
Well, no, they both did do it, but I'm
The same
talking
joke.
about,
They're talking about the same joke.
yeah.
Yeah, Cody later on is in the vent with Maddie, and Maddie says it stinks, and Cody says I'm sorry as well, just like Zach did with London.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I was thinking, like, the joke didn't appear again when it was Maddie and then Mr. Mosby and Zach and Cody. I'm surprised they didn't like bring that up when Mr. Mosby.
Oh,
Like, what's that smell? Sorry. That would have been so funny if both of the boys were like, sorry.
But so Zach ends up getting into the way, falling out of the bench and everything, has his camera, and then he manages to get the picture. And right after he gets the picture, they're like, he has a camera. And Zach's like terrified, thinking they're talking about him. But one of the paparazzi actually got into the wedding, and so they went chasing after him. And so they didn't even realize Zach was there with a camera.
What's funny though is Zach was like in the middle of the aisle.
Yeah.
Like,
He wasn't doing a very good
Like,
job.
if his table's the aisle, he's like,
yeah. Like, yeah. He's a
Like-
Pegasus.
sorry.
Sorry.
The personal space just got very crowded very quickly.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But
It doesn't help that your internal personal space is also very crowded.
It's true. My personal space is always just very small. Sometimes not.
But they end up getting Zach back into the bend except where Maddie and Cody are. They're trying to get out so that way,
Nothing happened. Woohoo. It's not really.
because Maddie's trying to save her butt for babysitting them.
Because Maddie just wants a little extra money to go buy nice things, do teenage things more specifically.
But while Maddie and Cody are in the bench, one of the security people notices that the vent cover is off.
Yeah.
And calls security. So once they get back to the vent, they're trying to like get their way out of there.
Who do they run into? Yes, in the comment section below. A, Santa Claus. B, the mom, Carrie. C, Mr. Mosby. Or D, the dinosaur. Da, 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 da. It's Mr. Mosby.
I was like, by the way, we already said it was Mr. Mosby
Yeah.
when we were talking about the jokes. So if you weren't paying attention to that part, this questionnaire was really for you if you were listening in.
But they end up seeing, like, meeting up with their mom in the lobby and everything, and their mom is talking such crap about that paparazzi person who went for the picture. Talk about how they have no respect for privacy and all this stuff, and
Which I think is valuable, for her to say that.
it is valuable, and it shows that these boys have a conscience. Like
They
they
feel like real guilty.
they feel so bad, and they end up like giving her the camera and explaining to them like we did it for the money, so that way we could like not be poor.
Speaking of which, I gotta update you on the Change Healthcare ransom attack. It's still going. But this time,
Anyways, it's worse. Anyways, but like then so like yeah, they end up coming forward with they're guilty. They just want to help out, and the mom like
And not be a burden is their exact words.
and the mom ends up pulling them aside, has this really cute conversation with them of like, listen, it's not the kids' job to take care of the parents, but it is the parents' job to take care of the kids, and you should not have had to take on my burden because I couldn't handle it, which is such a cute like ending to that episode. You hated this episode.
I did not like this episode.
Please tell me what you didn't like this episode.
I think we've talked before about my secondhand embarrassment. I feel emotions very strongly and living them, and I live through them constantly. And so just watching this episode was like literally like waiting for a time bomb to go off. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna get in trouble and it's gonna be really bad.
You don't do well with high stress situations in TV shows because you put yourself in the place of the character where you're experiencing it. It's real bad.
I will say, have you ever done anything similar?
I won't lie. I actually can say I haven't. I haven't snuck in anywhere. I haven't crawled through an air vent.
Yeah, and I guess it's just
The
me.
most I've done was break into my own house because I forgot my keys.
As we know from previous episodes, I used to sneak out of the house. There was also one time I would tell my mom I was at my friend's house when I was really staying the night at my boyfriend's house.
I think I did more of that stuff in college.
Pretty cold. Oh, I say like kind of shake. They're like, "Are you cold?"
Yeah, it's cold here.
Yeah, so it is like very cold in this room, by the way.
That's why I'm wearing a blanket.
Yeah, and I just like saw Sean kind of shiver. I'm like, you good?
No, in college is more when I like to help people. And like dodge for lights. And
It's the adulting version of it.
it was still to my parents. But like I was in a situation where they were like tracking my phone to see if I'd go to class or not. And this
That's
was
a violation.
yeah, it was a very big violation, and they didn't know that like I had like half online classes, half offline classes, and so it was really awkward when they would be like, "You're supposed to be in class," and I'd be like, "Well, I am literally listening to the professor." So yeah, it was not good. So I would constantly change the settings on my phone to be like in class or like at the library or stuff like that. So that way they wouldn't text me and be like, "Why aren't you sitting in class?" Because I just wasn't in the same classroom or whatever.
One thing in high school is my environmental science teacher, he strongly advocated for like for college students that your parents, even though, they may be part of your FAFSA, they have no claims to your login information in your student. Yeah. So like, if majority of our listeners are college, like within the
Yeah.
college student range.
So, for those who don't know, FERPA is the Federal Education Right to Privacy Act. So, the whole surrounding goes like, especially for college students, you're still an adult. That is your information. All because they are your parents or whatever, that does not mean that they have an explicit right to your
And
education. So,
yeah, and because their name is on the loan, like that's still technically your loan, unless there's like, but either way, like,
it gets complicated and there's different parts of it. But like, if your parent were to be like, "Hey, I need to get hold of my student, or where are they at, or like what class are they in right now?" They can't tell you. They can't tell them that.
Yeah.
That is your privacy.
I also was very thankful because they also can't know your grades at all.
Which that's what I struggled with in college was my family always wanted to know my grades, and I was just like, I lied about my grades, but
all the time.
yeah. And the one thing that my high school teacher advocated for was if you gave your parents your passwords, change it immediately because they don't need to know.
No, I can get really sideways really fast.
I would know.
But
Don't do it. Happening
I don't remember doing anything really like sneaking around-ish. Like, I mean, I guess technically the closest I can think of would be during COVID because
bad family situations.
we were both in not great family situations, and Jonelle lived off campus and everything, and they were very strict about who's allowed into your room.
Oh yeah, I was sneaking all the time.
Yeah, so like they would come up into my dorm room because I had a private room that was just me, and they were pretty much my entire social life. So when they talked about staying within your COVID bubble, this is my bubble. And everything.
I totally forgot about. See, this is why like this just doesn't phase me anymore because I did it growing up. That I'm just like it's fine. Like I would
We got it down to a science.
Yes, we did. Very impressed.
Yeah.
I would say I'm used to sneaking around. Sorry if my family listens to this.
But I mean,
It's
beyond that, I don't recall
like-
doing anything like that.
I think the difference between like us like going to Sean's dorm room or like me putting myself in different places according to my phone was much different than Zack and Cody's. I feel like ours was I don't want to say Zack and Cody's was like malicious. It was just
more mischievous than what we were doing. Like we were just wanting to hang out.
My high school stuff was very similar to what the boys were doing.
The closest only thing I could think of, and you'll remember this, freshman year, when me and you, Taylor and Sarah, tried to go to that haunted graveyard. And we got, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
And we were trying to find like haunted places in the city.
Did it fall into an October Friday the 13th that
It was October. It was something funky.
Yeah, we wanted to go to a cemetery. So was everyone.
No, we wanted to go somewhere haunted, and we found a haunted cemetery in our city. And so we tried going there, and it was just locked up and everything. Like, so it wasn't really waiting. It was a creepy drive. Wait, no, I actually do have a memory of us trying to sneak around like this, like not maliciously, but like
it was kind of like pushing boundaries, I feel like.
well, no, so this one memory, this is the only time I ever got to go to a youth group summer camp. So it's kind of when I was going to church and everything, when I considered myself a Christian, I didn't get the chance to go on any of our youth groups like winter or summer camps. The one time I got to go to summer camp was at one of the state parks that is in Washington, and it's called Fort Casey. It's on Whidbey Island, and we were at Camp Casey, which is right next to it, and it was nighttime, and we were trying to go to the fort because they don't use it anymore. It's just a relic now, but it's still really cool. Like they have cannons up there still and everything. Like it's really cool. I loved going there when I was growing up. And we were going there, and he was like, "No, you can't go there after dark. I mean, it's a state park." And the patricians were like, "It's always better to ask for forgiveness than for permission." Even though this is like a state park, so they kept on going, and they're like, "Okay, we see one light on. If we see anything more, then we're just gonna turn around and stuff." Like the fort was inside, we were almost there, but we ended up turning around. But I think that's the closest I ever got to like truly sneaking around behind the rules and everything.
Then we knew I was sneaking out of the house to go see my boyfriend. I was telling my parents I was over. There's also me sneaking out to go to parties, and then also, then when I stayed the night at my friend's house, we also stuck out at her house to go walking around town. The stuff that I did was pretty like more around what the boys were doing, more malicious. Well, more
Chaotic.
yeah.
It's not like they were doing it because they wanted to like hurt anyone, but it was like out of boredom.
Yeah, I was like, we never did it to hurt anyone. It was more of just like,
For bored.
there's nothing in a small town, let me tell you. So sneaking out in the middle of the night and trying to figure out where the cops drive in the middle of the night was very entertaining. And we got it down to a T of where the cops were.
It's just boredom.
Which is sad. I still have the like time schedule in my head of like where cops would be at this time right now to avoid where to walk.
I think the problem I have with this episode is actually the whole situation with Carrie and the boys and their lack of communication. Because as a toddler teacher, and you're like, if the boys are older than toddlers, Megan, yes, I know. Listen for 5 minutes. Okay. But when toddlers grow to the age about like 2, they learn to start pushing boundaries. And it's not malicious in any way. They just are trying to figure out that we have this analogy, right? Where you're basically on a bridge and you're trying to figure out where the sides are so you know where to walk safely. And when they're toddlers, they're just like walking back and forth on the bridge to figure out where those sides are. Zack and Cody should know where those sides are when it comes because they're old enough to like go to school, to go to the bathroom by themselves, all these things, right? We see them like literally rollerblading. They're doing great. But I feel like there should have been more communication between Carrie and the kids of like how much you can actually order from room service.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I was like thinking about like how is this like they're bored, not more established in what's okay, what's not okay. Like I figured that would have been more regulated.
Right, especially like the mom communicating with Zack and Cody, because it sounds like they have a pretty decent relationship. Like they love their mom. They are willing to go into this like weird situation where they have to like catch your kiss on camera, which I'm pretty sure no boys at that age really want to do.
Well, that brings up my issue with this episode.
And
It seems like Zach was because it's like
I'm concerned. We all know that Zack and Cody are meant to play off as opposites, and one's the book nerd, one's the bad boy. And Zack
I was like
is
agent.
Zack is such a bad boy, but it
Bad
bothers
boy.
me given their age. Given their age, they're only entering middle school,
Yeah.
still in elementary school a little bit,
Sweet Life on Deck is when
in high school.
high school.
And so it bothers me how much Zack makes comments towards Maddie or just generally about women. Like
Yeah, I feel like that was too young, you know.
like when they found
or
out
two
when they found out about the baseball player in laundry, he goes, "Oh yeah, he's a really good guy." Like Cody's like, "Oh my god, he's such a good baseball player," and Zach's like, "Yeah, she's good at whatever she does." Like, it's a lingerie model, so
I feel like the the jokes were probably added into the show for adults watching it, but I feel like it would have been more funny if they were more innocent comments. Like, oh, but she's really pretty.
well, older Disney Channel was a lot more crass, I want to say, and approached a lot was a lot more vulgar
Yeah.
in the audience that it was because it was a teenage audience. Like I can recall like even Nickelodeon, like with Victoria's, how often they would make a reference.
I was like,
to
this is
sex
around like the whole
or-
Nickelodeon era of these type of shows, and so they're competing with
Like I probably racist.
they're competing with the awful guy going around the internet right now.
Dan Schneider,
Yeah, so they're competing with his work.
which has a lot more crass teenage humor,
Yeah. And so Disney is trying to like
compete with that, but end up turning to Zach and just someone who does like he makes a lot of passes.
it's just kind of weird.
Like this one comment he made, he said something like she has curves in all the right places, and the mom comes out and snaps her. She goes, "What?" And he goes, "What? I don't know. Nope." Like it makes me upset that he doesn't have more respect towards women being raised by his mom.
Yeah.
And as much as the mom obviously has a lot of him, where he's like, nope, I didn't say, nope, did not say anything.
This is also the other question that I have is just like, do boys at that age even really think about that? Because I don't think so.
Me personally, I so I did not. However, that doesn't mean I wasn't exposed early to that kind of stuff.
That
I
kind of
was-
thinking.
It's like most of the kids that like express those things early are due to
It has to do with a lot from environmental factors.
environmental factors, and a lot of them are based on trauma from S
Things.
situations.
Yeah, very triggering situations, traumatic situations. But it comes down to family and what sources of information is being taken in. Like, the movie Ted, rated R movie.
Oh my gosh, the one with the teddy bear.
Yeah.
I saw that at a very young age, like almost when it first came out.
Yeah, I did.
That's not age appropriate.
No, it's not. I remember watching what, oh my god, the one with the food where,
Sausage.
yeah, I watched that with my stepdad
Mm-mm.
when it first, oh god, it was the worst experience of my life watching it with him because like it was just me and my stepdad watching it, and I was just like, this is so embarrassing.
But
Like the jokes were funny, But that's not something I would
But,
have left with my step.
early
I
2000s,
get
That's my idea.
early 2000s, it was very hard because a lot of media, like we still fight it to this day, but 20 years ago in early 2000s, it was really bad on objectifying women.
Mhm.
Like my brain goes to things like America's Next Top Model, on how bad that was, and stuff like that. E- and even though Carrie does as much as she can, single parent and
But she's
stuff.
also working a lot, from what we can see.
Yeah, she's a night singer. She and stuff in the hotel,
Probably sleeps a lot during the day when the boys are at school.
and so she's doing her best, and obviously at least one of her kids has a lot of respect towards women, and I think they pushed the bad boy agenda onto Zach because Disney loves their bad boys, but
It also kind of shows, the positive and negative, and how those two tend to neutralize each other.
they do tend to neutralize each other, and like there is an episode of Sweet Life on Deck of like if they were to switch places or like have never met. Like there was it's a really confusing episode, but um, it's it's really bothering to me seeing that because Maddie doesn't think anything of it because he's just a kid, and obviously the mom like has Zach in line when she's around and stuff and calls him out and stuff on it. The dad, whenever he's around, doesn't also see in future episodes doesn't do
We
much.
see their dad?
He's a recurring character. Um,
No one.
Yeah.
Why do I was like, I'm kind of shocked by this too, because I'm like, I watched it not that, like, the whole thing not that long ago, and I'm like, how do I even forget this?
but like we even get to see the dad, and he kind of instigates Zach's behavior a little bit, but
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. So I have a younger brother, and he wasn't Zach level, but he definitely was more interested in girls at that age. And part of it was that like my dad was a traveling person, so like his job included him to like go. So who were his best friends growing up? My sister and my mom. Like I said, me and my brother didn't get along, but like most of his friends were girls and all that stuff. And so he knew more about dresses and stuff like that. But like it was also such hard the guy culture, just like where I lived, where it was like, ooh, do you think that girl's pretty? They did not use the word pretty.
my brother took a lot more after my dad. It was a lot of cracks towards women.
See, when I was growing up, it was just like the boys my age were experimenting with the girls, like really and then of course we both know my
Yeah.
piece of shit ex.
I don't genuinely remember when guys started asking girls out. I was too focused on schoolwork, but I remember the first time a boy asked me out, I ran away from it.
See, for me, see the first time I got asked out, because yeah, the first time I ever got into a relationship, it was me being asked out, and like, you want to be my boyfriend? And my literal response was, "What's that?"
I ran.
The first time I got asked out was on Valentine's Day
Cliche.
to Stephen,
Well,
which is funny considering
you know,
my boyfriend.
but
Not the same Steven, not my very first boyfriend, Steven. I have
Whole different person.
yeah, I'm now in a relationship, which is weird.
Does that mean we'll get a new friend on the Disney pod?
We need to talk about it this
Yeah.
Sunday with him.
obviously we might be able to swing a guest there. But no, let us know in the comments if you guys have any like funny stories of when you guys were mischievous as kids.
Like, what did you do that was sneaking around?
I mean, the most thing I ever did sneak around was my parents were in Germany. I do not live in Germany. They were on the other side of the ocean. And so I drove my friend illegally 5 blocks to my house and then asked my grandma to go to GameStop because I really, really wanted a 3DS. I made like 4 PowerPoint presentations about it, and my parents were like, no, you may not get one. And so I convinced my grandmother to drive us to GameStop, which she was convinced was an arcade. And I bought myself a 3DS with my own money. And after I was done, I came back. She's like, "Oh, you must have won a set at the arcade." And I was like, "Yeah, look at this, really cool electronics." She's like, "Oh, that must have been a nice arcade Megan." And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty neat, Grandma." And thank you, Grandma.
That was your teenage rebellion.
Yep, that was it. My parents were pissed off. I spent like $200 on my 3DS, and I was so happy about it that whenever I had free time, I'd play it.
You earned that though.
Thank you.
But
Like I literally researched like the games I wanted, like the case I wanted, like the color. Yeah, I went all out with PowerPoint presentations. I presented to my parents 4 different times why I wanted this. And it's
that's it. But yeah, let us know in the comments what your guys' fun stories are, and don't forget to subscribe too.
And you can also tell us your stories if you want to submit them by email.
Yes, our email's on our channel if you want to submit anything. It's friendsofdisneypod@gmail.com.
I
If
would
you
be
want
reading it. Maybe I'll read it out loud.
And the previous episode, if you want to send pictures of your pet spiders to Megan, make sure you put in the caption pet spider.
yes,
For Megan's eyes only.
Yeah.
share your pets with us. We want to see them.
We're fans of
Check out the last episode if you want to find out more about pets and Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah, last episode, Lady and the Tramp.
One did go.
You missed out on the conversation earlier. It is Lady and the Tramp is the last episode.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Pregnancy brain, y'all. Also, if you have any pregnancy tips, so
Just help Megan out.
We need the help.
But with that concluded,
we'll see.
Bye, everyone.
bye, friends. We'll see you next